Okay, at first I did.
Get that?
Pass the waters down, Carson.
I'm sorry.
I tried to, and then I had to walk around
You're
the block
fine.
trying to get wake myself up a little. It's been a rough week.
I did what I was supposed to do. I took a nap.
Good for you.
Yes.
Yeah. I've done all mine.
At my age, it's a requirement.
It's fine. All right. All set?
We got through it.
All right, hello everyone. It's Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. It's 7 p.m. We'll call the City Council regular meeting to order. Would everyone please rise for the invocation given by Councilman Curley, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, we would ask that you would calm us, bring us down, that we may do the business of this beautiful city, not for us, but for the residents of this city. Lord, we also ask that you would be with our country, calm our country down too as well. And we ask that you would be for all the folks who are not feeling well, particularly in our city of Eastpointe. We ask all these things in your holy name, Jesus the living Christ. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Here.
Councilmember Curley?
Here.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Here.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Here.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Here.
All right, moving on to approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, if I could propose one change, that we move the one item under unfinished business to, I guess, the next meeting so that it can be updated according to our motions from last meeting regarding the fee schedule.
So motion to approve the agenda with that one item table?
Yes, sir.
Proposed ordinance change you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll support that motion.
All right. Anything else? Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley?
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes. All right, moving on to the first hearing of the public. The first hearing of the public is now open. Would anyone wish to be heard?
My name is Vicki Brooks. I live at 6560 Ridgefield Circle, and I'm the Deputy Personnel Director for the City of Eastpointe. On August 27th, 2025, I issued a memo to the Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem with descriptive examples of discriminatory actions the interim city manager has taken, as well as violations of City Manager Doom of the Civil Rights Act, Eastpointe Personnel Rules and Regulations, Civil Service Charter, and HIPAA laws. On August 29, 2025, the interim city manager submitted a budget amendment that reduces my wages by $25,000. This action is clear and direct retaliation to the communication that I provided to the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem. Ms. Doom is now looking to significantly reduce my wage by redirecting a portion of my wage to her own salary. The city completed an independent compensation study for all non-union personnel in February 2025. My wage and job title was a direct recommendation of that wage study. In fact, all non-union employees received varying adjustments to ensure their wages were reflective of their job duties and comparable to the market in like communities. Without regard to the independent compensation study, Ms. Doom has opted to make a recommendation to reduce my wage by over 30%. Yet in the budget amendment for your consideration tonight is an approval for a secondary salary increase for the police chief in excess of $11,000, a second increase within a 6-month period exceeding the recommendation for the compensation study. The second wage increase for the police chief has already been authorized and implemented by the interim city manager, and the hiring of additional staff in the building department, as requested tonight, has already begun prior to city council approval. These are direct examples of actions by the interim city manager that violate proper procedure as set by city council. My salary is the only reduction in expenses and the only reduction in personnel costs recommended by the interim city manager. Ms. Doom is misrepresenting her recommendation for a reduction to my salary as a staffing realignment. The recommendation isn't aligning with the compensation study approved by council. She has not reassigned job duties. In fact, I'm covering more personnel tasks since her start in March 2025. Human resources is a critical function of all organizations, and as the only HR professional employed with the city, I struggle to understand her intent to disinvest. As detailed in my memo, my rights as an employee have
You have
been
30 seconds.
violated through discriminatory practices, repeated harassment, and retaliation. I'm asking that this body deny the misrepresented reduction in wages, as this recommendation is proven to be rooted in retaliatory and discriminatory actions. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. How would a surprise, unjustifiable reduction of $25,000 to your salary impact your family and livelihood
Thank you very
in this
much.
economy?
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
The First Amendment rights violation suit against the city included a First Amendment day on September 6th in the consent decree. The last meeting proved nothing was learned in violating my First Amendment rights again. Profanity is protected speech, whether you like it or not, and if you don't, you shouldn't be a public official. My statement did not incite imminent violence, nor did it constitute a true threat. It didn't pertain to fighting words nor prurient interests. In Acosta versus City of Costa Mesa, removal is only permitted for an actual disruption, not just the use of offensive language. Do not incorrectly record my statements into the previous meeting minutes. Who wouldn't be upset in the following scenario days before their dead mother's birthday? Seeing a bad cop being rewarded and never punished by previous administration for deliberately putting a citizen in harm's way during the effing pandemic. That cop did nothing to ticket an out-of-control neighbor for disturbing the peace and screaming vulgarities and malicious destruction of my property. I'm working as fast as I can to clear the snow off my trees. I can't hear over her screaming, and my ears are blocked by my arms. I can't see where the snow's fallen because I'm looking at the tops of the trees. Next thing I know, I've got an idiot cop screaming in my face during the height of the effing pandemic, which is nothing shy of reckless disregard for another person's safety, well-being, and health. My mom's dying in hospice. I'm the only one taking care of her, driving 100 miles round trip to a horrible nursing home. And because of this idiot cop, I've lost a week visiting my dying mother in hospice. Nothing was done to him. Because of that, I lost a week. Because at that time, it took a week to get COVID test results back. And if you were possibly exposed to someone with COVID, you couldn't go to the nursing home unless you could show negative test results. Who wouldn't be upset if they experienced the same thing? And yet you had no qualms violating my First Amendment rights again. Yet the homophobes who hide behind their Bibles and they spew all their hateful rhetoric at the meetings, well, sadly, that's protected speech. It's far more offensive than an F-bomb. Again, you violated my First Amendment rights. If you have any decency, you'd issue a public apology.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Mary Hall Rayford, Eastpointe resident. I had a banner from the fire organization acknowledging September 6th as First Amendment Day. And it's been sitting on my porch, and it will be sitting there until the 7th as a reminder. of what our First Amendment rights are. I've been talking about civility and how we can change the climate in the city. Now, I wish I could say I don't use profanity, but that would be a lie. When I'm pushed, I might let something slip. But in a public forum, I thank God, He helps to keep my tongue so I won't say certain things. I had a feeling this was coming and I wasn't sure whether I would address it or not, but we need to all learn a little discipline in about civility. We can express our anger, our frustration, and other things because just like we have residents who watch the council meetings, there are people outside the state who watch our meetings. And I think we can prove to them that we are better than dropping F-bombs in a public forum. Be upset, be frustrated, but exercise a little decorum in how we address the situation. And I hope that we can move forward with this. I plan to celebrate September 6th, and I hope others will too, because it's important. But I also hope that we exercise a little more decorum and self-discipline in how we conduct ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Hello, good evening, Mayor, Council. Last time I was here, it's Linda Flans, Eastpointe resident. Last time I was here, it was, I believe, July 15th. It was about 6 weeks ago. Talked about a couple things. The Big Boy property has 3 to 4 foot tall weeds. It still has not been cut the entire summer. And then also, there was a parking of a commercial dump truck on South Park that's leaking a lot of oil. I also followed up with an email with pictures, and here I am 6 weeks later to say nothing's been done about either of those. The dump truck is owned by Par Landscaping out of Casco, Michigan, and it's doing work on the 9 Mile construction. And every evening it's parked from 6 p.m. overnight to 8 a.m. and then all day and night on weekends. And it's still leaking a lot of oil. There's no commercial parking on city streets, but this dump truck has been parked daily for months. I cannot believe that a commercial truck that is not even allowed to park on city streets has been allowed for months now, especially when it's leaking oil all over the street. So what I'm asking is to please get in contact with Par Landscaping and demand that they move their truck to a construction zone instead of a residential street. And most importantly, the massive amount of oil that has leaked onto the street needs to be cleaned up. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Was that Charles R? Just
No, South Park.
South Park, thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone else?
Jennifer Nicholas, Eastpointe resident. I know you're not discussing the ordinance changes tonight. You're moving it to another meeting. I did have a couple concerns on that. When you were discussing it at the last meeting, I understand, to me, a vacant residential property is a little bit different than a vacant commercial property. I feel that if somebody owns a house, as long as they're keeping up the property and paying their taxes and there's no violations, I can see where maybe increasing fees every year might be a little bit of a hardship. It's a little different in my mind with commercial properties. There are a lot of commercial properties that are being used for nothing, and, part of what you've been talking about, especially with 9 Mile Road, for example, is that, you're hoping with this road diet from Tuscany to Kelly that this will encourage new businesses to come in. Back toward the end of last year, I had asked for a listing of vacant properties on 9 Mile from Tuscany to Kelly, and there were about 12 of them that were vacant. They were not for sale, they were not for lease, they were not for rent. It looked like our building official, Mr. Myers, was having a hard time communicating with whoever owned the property. The phone numbers weren't valid anymore. The people, I guess, you know, these businesses are paying their taxes, they're maybe mailing in their property tax check, or if they can go online and pay it, but they're basically using it to store things. In my mind, that's a little bit different than somebody's house that, as long as they're keeping it up, it's good. With a commercial property, it kind of creates a dead zone. You know, it's not encouraging for a business to come in if they see a bunch of vacant commercial properties around. It's not encouraging for people to come and want to shop here or explore here if there's a bunch of vacant properties. So I kind of agree with what Mr. Myers was saying, that you know, maybe you can have two different sets of standards for vacant properties. One for residential that's a little more understanding as long as they're keeping up their properties. But for the commercial ones, some of
You have 30
these have been
seconds.
sitting here for a long time. The owners seem to have no intention on doing anything with them. It's not a matter of businesses coming in and want to buy property or move in here. If these properties aren't for sale or for rent, doesn't matter what you do to the road or try to beautify 9 Mile Road if the commercial building owners don't intend to do anything with it. So maybe something you can think about before you address it at the next meeting.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone else? Seeing none, the first hearing of the public is closed. We'll move on to approval of the minutes for the regular meeting minutes of August 19, 2025.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we accept the minutes of the regular meeting of August 19th, 2025.
Support.
All right. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Thank you. We have no scheduled hearings. We removed the one item under unfinished business, so we'll go right into reports from administration. Ms. Doom.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a lovely sheet here from the Recreation Authority of Roseville and Eastpointe. They have an amazing fitness center, and they'd like you all to know that their fitness center is available for both residents and non-residents. They do have state-of-the-art fitness equipment, and it is just, the prices are absolutely amazing. If you are a senior 55 and older, the cost is only $30 a year to use the recreation center. Ages 14 to 54 is $50 a year. If you are a non-resident, it is $150 a year. Now, members who are 14 to 17 years old must be accompanied by a parent or a legal guardian who has a paid membership. The fitness hours are Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 8 p.m., Saturday, Sunday, 9 to 6 p.m., and that may change occasionally, but this is one heck of a really wonderful offer. I know what I have to pay to belong to my local gym where I live, and believe me, it's in the hundreds to be able to use theirs. So this is on the RARE website. We also have some flyers here. Just wanted to share with you that it is just a wonderful opportunity for folks. And also, I'd like to also share with you that we are going to be having an open house for the master plan, an economic development and placemaking strategy. So these are self-guided, interactive, open houses. We'd like to know about your visions and your values, community character, corridors and connections. Those open houses will be held Tuesday, September the 23rd from 5 to 7 at the, I'm sorry, I don't know what an LFA hall is. It's right over here.
Across the street.
Across the street, okay, is that the Lutheran fraternity? Okay, directly across the street from City Hall, and again at, they printed this not quite right. We've got the next Tuesday and Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. Kim, could you double check this, please? It has the same dates, 23rd, should be 23rd and 24th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll make that correction on this sheet. We'll have to reprint this so that our residents know. Again, 23rd and 24th the 23rd is 5 to 7, the 24th is 6 to 8. Light refreshments will be provided. There is a QR code at the bottom for people who'd like to get information from the QR code. But this is going to help us move ahead as we develop our master plan and decide how our community would like to go, in what direction on housing, on business, what you'd like to see, not only today, but in the future. So we'll have more information on that for you, and that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Manager Doom, you did provide me with a list of dates. I figured we could mention that right now, September 15th, 22nd, and 29th as possible meeting dates.
Yes, our recruiter who is helping us with the city manager search has reached out with some potential dates that he can meet with the council. He is requesting a closed session so that he can provide resumes and talk about the potential candidates. And so far, most of our council appears to be available on September 15th, 22nd, or 29th. So you will need to decide one of those days, which day works best for all of you. And then we will go ahead and post. It will be a closed session, so it's not open to the public. It is long enough to say we go into closed session and then he just chats with them and provides them the information that they need.
I'm okay with the 15th.
Does that work for you?
7 o'clock.
15,
Yes.
7 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay. We will go ahead and schedule a closed session meeting for the purposes of meeting with our city manager recruitment firm, and that will be at 7 p.m. Okay, we will make that happen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Doom?
Excuse me, a lot of folks are, a lot of folks are wondering what's going on with 9 Mile Road, particularly what's going to end up at 9 Mile Road. Can you give us any indication what's going on?
I can give you a little bit. They're waiting for that concrete to cure right now. They still have sidewalks to pour. They anticipate they'll be poured on Monday, weather permitting, of course. And then it's just cleanup after that. It's cleanup on the little entrances. We still have some driveways that need to go into businesses. And what they do is the company comes out and does the major road part with their massive machinery. And then they also have another company, a subcontractor, that comes and puts in the driveways, the approaches to the businesses. So it's kind of a two-pronged approach. But hopefully by next Monday, we should just be at that point of sidewalk pouring and starting to clean up.
Okay. Any new news or updates on what the state is going to do with, is it going to be a 5-lane or is it going to be a 3-lane? Is there any update?
Well, there's a little bit of an update. There are a number of us, including Kim and myself, and Randy was there, and naturally our AEW, our engineers. There were a lot of people there in a Zoom meeting, including people from the cable company and from DTE, and anyone who might have some role in, the lanes. And so in that discussion, here we've been waiting for MDOT to tell us yay or nay on 3 or 5 lanes. And we were very surprised to hear from the MDOT representative that said he didn't have the authority. Now, they had the authority the last time we did our last section, but they're now telling us we don't. And there is a environmental group that we have to now present all of our documents and information to. We've been told that we are ready to go as far as approval for a 5-lane, but to reduce it to a 3-lane, we will have to provide NEPA, which stands for, help me, Kim, because I always get the last word wrong.
It's the National Environmental Protection Act.
Act. I want to call them an agency every time, but they're the act. They review all these type of projects for environmental concerns, whether it's, depends on what kind of project it is. And so they are requiring of us to set apart from a council meeting, another hearing, a public hearing for the purposes of the 3-lane before they will give us an answer. So it will be up to the mayor and council to set that date. Because it's a public hearing, we do have to have adequate time to post it in the newspaper so that our residents are fully aware that we're having a special meeting for the purposes of discussing the 3-lane to meet NEPA's requirements as we go forward. And we are running out of time, so we're kind of really trying to get this moving. We are required by our federal grant that we have that this project must be completed by September of 2026. So that's just 12 months away, and it takes a while to get those bids out and get the specs going and, and actually get it built. So the mayor and council will determine what date they want that open house to be. And it has to be more than 15 days from tonight, even if they state, what day they want, because we have to publish it. And we have to have 15 days of going to the paper and publishing, and they usually need a few days advance notice. So I would say no sooner than about 20 days from now. Would you say that's accurate from the correspondence we've had, Kim?
At least 3 weeks. But we're still waiting to hear if we actually need that public hearing. They're still defining.
If I may, that was going to be my question. Will MDOT respond without having a public hearing? Because if MDOT says no go, then it would be an exercise in futility. Or is MDOT saying they won't review it?
MDOT is done, and it's now on NEPA. And so they're saying that the quickest way is a public hearing, but there's other hoops that we may have to jump through. But the city engineer is still trying to get them to clarify exactly what that would be. It's literally within the past 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Okay, a couple more questions. And I want to go home tonight knowing what's going on, and I'm sure some of the folks here too. As I understand it, MDOT says, they said, forget it, we're not. So you said this other environmental group. As I understand it, they're going to take a look at all the evidence that we're going to give them, and that's going to take some time. As I understand it, they are going to make the decision.
Yes.
Not the city council. So they have 3 choices. One, they could say, city council, we don't want to deal with it. You guys make up your mind which of the 2 you want, the 5-lane or the 3-lane. Or they could say, you got to have the 5-lane and we have no choice to vote on it. Or they could say, we want you to do the 3-lane after looking at all the evidence, and we have no choice. Is that right?
It could be about right. They will make a decision.
When you say could, what does that mean?
Well, they're not the easiest group to work with.
They make the final decision.
They make the decision, but
Okay.
they're fully aware of what the council is looking to do. They're aware of that, and they will most likely try and work with council based on what your recommendations are. So they're not trying to.
Well, that'll be interesting. We'll have to have 2 different meetings. One for the 3-lane and then the other 2 guys for the 5-lane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ms. Holman, correct me if I'm wrong, did you say it was in the last few hours there's been this communication?
Yes, Mayor, literally this afternoon, the last few hours. So it's still not clarified as to what actually is needed.
That's what my concern is, because even just listening now, it doesn't sound entirely correct to me. Like they wouldn't make an ultimate decision. I think that they're more just a approval, non-approval agency. I guess my suggestion would be to request by the end of the week an update sent to all of council explaining exactly what options are, what the process is, giving you guys a little bit of time to clarify any questions there might be with NEPA.
Yeah, City Manager Doom did request that because it's a lot of back and forth, and what has to be done, and then also the time frame. They may be adding different times onto things, and of course we're worried about that. So yeah, City Manager Doom has been firm about requesting that we get as much firm detail as we can.
Okay. And then I guess to clarify what I'm thinking is once we have that via email, we can schedule something. It would be far enough out that we could announce it at our next council meeting.
I should share that their original kind of very forceful, you have to have this hearing, they were thinking along the lines of complete streets with bike lanes and, and we said, no, this is not a complete streets project. There are not going to be bike lanes. And then it was, well, we think you're still going to need this hearing, but since you're not putting in the bike lanes, we'll have to get back to you. So they got themselves confused as to what we were looking to accomplish, we the city.
Okay.
And so now we're kind of, do we or do we not set it up? Or, are we going to delay it if we don't? But we're going to keep working with them and, correspond with them on a daily basis until we get an answer. Since it's not complete streets, it's just a narrowing of it down to a 3-lane section. They haven't been able to actually tell us yay or nay. Just as of right now, it appears yes. But we'll
Say
get
that again?
originally, when they stated that we had to have a hearing.
Yeah,
They were under
you
the
mentioned
impression.
about 3 lanes and.
Yeah, they were under the impression that we were going to reduce it for 3 lanes so that we could have, fall under the complete streets program, which is bike lanes. And we explained, no, that's not what we're looking for. We're not going to put bike lanes in. And so that kind of made them stop and pause a little bit. And so, we're not quite certain. They've kind of made it clear that they are still looking for that, but they'll get back with us.
Okay, I'm just going to say one more thing, Mayor.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
By how you verbalized that, that you mentioned 3 lanes on a number of times. And you even said that they were looking at that. I don't know how anybody could take the assumption that that's what this council wants. We've never voted on it. So I don't know how somebody up in Lansing or wherever these people are can make that assumption that we want 3 lanes. And if I have to write a paragraph to them to let them know how I feel, because the way you're describing it, I'm hearing you saying that they're thinking that we want 3 lanes.
You have a majority on this board that
Well, we
wants 3 lane.
we might have a, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Wait a minute. We might have a majority. We haven't taken an actual vote. And you don't know that one of the 3 might change their mind.
So I'd like to respond to that. There was a vote on directing administration to prepare and submit 3-lane plans.
A choice. So we would have a choice.
Yeah, I do think ultimately it does need to come up again, because I did go back and take a look at that motion. I didn't think it was a final motion. I think the question is that a meeting? Is it a hearing? It doesn't seem clear whether or not what form it should take. But no matter whatever discussion, we would have the answer and know what we're doing by the next meeting and be able to announce it ahead of time, at least here, obviously publicize it elsewhere as well. But I guess where I'm at is, one, I want administration to be able to clearly advise council what's going on. And then by our next meeting, I'd also like to have it clear enough so that we can announce to the residents what's going on without kind of these questions. Because really right now, it's clear to me that administration doesn't have all the answers, and neither do we. So I think it's more confusing than really helpful to try to set something today when we're not really sure what we're doing. So that's why I suggested getting clear information. And I appreciate that administration's working on it, and I just feel like we need a little bit more information put out to council, so. Councilman Curley, did you have other?
I better not.
Right, any other questions? Okay.
I'm sorry, I do have one quick question. Should we set the date now? Do you think that would be beneficial to set the date now? Because you said we have to have at least 3 weeks' notice for the hearing. I mean, we had some.
Wouldn't hurt to set a tentative date that could always be canceled before it's published. So if we have the guidance from NEPA, then we're ready to go forward.
That's what I was
Would be
thinking.
a tentative only.
Sooner the
depending on
better.
what they finally tell us, yes or no. That would be helpful. But that's really up to all of you to decide.
Could coincide with a council meeting, right?
No, can't.
Oh.
Yep, but we have, I'm sorry for interrupting, but we had those dates that we were talking about for the other special meeting. I mean, that we could utilize one of those dates if we're still all available. I mean, we have the end of the month, the 29th.
I think 29th would be the only one that would work,
That would be,
time-wise.
time-wise, that would be 3 weeks. Or is that too short? Should we go into October?
Well, we need at least 3 weeks. Calendar. I can't even believe it's September,
I know.
much less anything else. I would say the end of September would be the soonest.
Is there a school board meeting that night, or, because that's a Monday, correct? The 29th is a Monday, yeah.
I don't have.
That I don't know.
So is there a school board meeting that night?
Yeah, that would be the fourth Monday then.
22nd is. But
Oh, you're right, 1, 2, 3.
I think we should find out the requirements, or like what's actually happening before we even set a date for this.
Try and pin them
Yeah.
down tomorrow and the next day or so and say, look, we need time to do this, so please give us an answer.
I'm fine either way, however council wants to handle it. I mean, if we decide it's not even going to be a road I don't know I need to know more about what's going on, because if it's not
Okay,
viable, I'm still curious about sort of where MDOT's at.
Okay, that's fine.
I'd be available any day except Wednesdays. So I don't care if it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday.
All right, well, I guess I suggest we kind of get clarification first, and then we can all correspond our schedules if need be. But, I mean, we have some tentative dates already for the other meetings, so.
That's true. Okay.
All right, well, the only thing I was, actually, before we move on, I saw you taking notes. I was hoping the concerns from Ms. Flans, the Big Boy property and
I do. I have
if we can
notes.
follow up on that. Okay.
I certainly do.
Okay. Anything else? We'll move on to the Finance Director's report. Mr. Blum.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The only thing I have tonight is if you're watching the council meeting at 7:36 at night and realize you didn't pay your taxes today, write a check, put it in an envelope, and put it in the drop box before 6 a.m. tomorrow, and it still counts as on time. And that's all I have.
All right, any questions? Thank you. Our city attorney's report, Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. Last week, I completed paperwork regarding another opioid settlement. This one is the secondary manufacturers settlement. As soon as I get documentation as to what the payout will be to the city, I'll let the council know. And Chief, on the resident that addressed the council about the commercial vehicle leaking fluids all over the road, I know our office, I've prosecuted individuals that have allowed that to happen. Is that something we can send our code enforcement official?
Yes, and I believe that we have already issued at least one violation, but I'm going to check into that first thing tomorrow.
Okay, all right, thank you. And that's all I have, Mayor, other than the council's in receipt of our monthly status report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Albright? All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to new business. Item A, approval of police department Axon body camera and in-car camera agreements. Did anyone want to open up discussion on this or make a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I had maybe one item before we make a motion or anything. And so I think body cameras are great. I'm glad that we have been doing that for the past 5 years and would like to continue. I was just concerned about a 10-year agreement on the body cameras. Well, one reason being the charter says we can, for most contracts, which would include this one, and I talked to our city attorney about this, is that contract should be 3 years or less. Or have to be 3 years or less, I should say, according to the charter. But my bigger reason maybe for it, and I'm assuming this is, I mean, Axon's probably not listening, but feel free to if they want. Part of their reason is to lock us in so that they can, of course, have our business for 10 years, but also, if you think of any other electronics items that you've bought, generally, as time goes on, it gets cheaper. A lot of this is like the cloud storage. I think as time goes on, it might get cheaper. So if we lock ourselves in for 10 years, we might actually be paying more than we need to. You know, most things usually go up, but do you remember like a flat screen TV, you know, 10 or 20 years ago was not a couple $100. So I think not only because of the charter, but we also could be saving money down the road. I was wondering if we can investigate a different length of time. And 10 years is just, you know, a very long time, I think, for something like this.
Thank you. I know we had talked via email about this, about the 10-year, and I also spoke with our police chief and asked him to kind of share with all of us why the 10-year versus a 3-year or a 5-year. We've done 5-year in the past. So, Chief, if you would share why you feel it's the best to have a 10-year contract with this company.
Sure, Mayor and Council, respectfully. To my knowledge, first and foremost, Axon only does 5-year contracts. Every contract that I have personally signed, whether here or with a former department, has always been 5 years. So we did get 2 potential contracts from Axon this time around. It was a 5-year contract and a 10-year contract. Between the 5 and 10-year contract, well, let me back up. So every 5 years with the in-car cameras specifically, Axon does a free refresh. Now, the way it was in the past is you'd get your initial in-car cameras, and then it would be upon the city to pay to have those cameras installed. Axon has now rolled that into the pricing, and they actually send a crew out that does all the cars one right after the other so that they're all outfitted in a quick period of time, and we're not paying extra. We're not paying Axon for that outside of the contractual agreement. So that's part one. Every 5 years, we get brand new equipment. So we are due for brand new equipment as of October 1st. So all of our cars will be refreshed with new equipment at no additional charge other than signing the contract. So then we get to the difference between the 5-year and the 10-year. Although I don't dispute that, you know, technology and stuff changes and sometimes it gets a little bit cheaper. I've never seen Axon get cheaper. I've only seen it get more expensive, and especially because of what's coming down the pipeline in the very near future is AI generated stuff. So when I say that, I mean AI generated assistance with body cams, where AI will actually take everything that was said and can put it into a report. You know, those kinds of things are coming, and that's just going to mean Axon is going to climb and climb. And right now, we have the ability to be a la carte and not select any of that stuff, but I can guarantee that within the next couple of years, that's going to change, and you're going to be forced to take these other options, whether you decide to use them or not, which could also increase the price. Body cams, on the other hand, are a little bit different. Body cams, they refresh every 3 years because technology is leaping faster with body cams for some reason. I think it's really because of the close proximity to the subject, and they get clearer and they get wider angled lenses, and those sort of things are increasing more frequently. So every 3 years that we're within the contract, including at the end of the contract, we get refreshed with brand new body cams. So then to get back to the 5-year versus 10-year, in the 10-year contract versus the 5-year, we would save approximately $20,000, a little more dollars per year going with the 10-year contract because they hold the fees down as far as interest, kind of like interest rates in a sense, but how much we're paying and how much it goes up per year. So the standard that I have seen and what they've actually told me is it goes up roughly between 7 and 9% per year. When we look at inflation, we're around 3% or below. They're at 7 to 9%. So we can hold that down to 3 to 5%, which is where we gain a lot of the savings, yet we have new equipment constantly being influxed every 5 years. I also researched the contract and looked at their basic boilerplate language that goes to every single agency. They don't sign these singular contracts other than the pricing levels that they give you. I also asked our city attorney, Rich, to review that with me as well in case I missed something. And my understanding is we can terminate at any time. They could terminate at any time with 30 days written notice. And basically what would happen is we'd have to give our equipment back. At the end of that 30 days, we would give all the equipment that we have. It would be our responsibility to give it back to them. Assumably, we would be doing that if we were going with a different company. Speaking of that, there's only 3 real companies that have come across the radar, which Axon is the biggest. And then you have WatchGuard, which is also used by several agencies. And they're not really a newcomer, but they're finally getting to the point where they're more usable, which is called GTAC. WatchGuard is about the same price, if not a little bit more expensive. GTAC is cheaper, but it doesn't have all the options that we currently have right now. Also, with that, where before it was broken into, you're paying for body cams, you're paying for in-car cams, and you're paying for this data package, this unlimited data package. As we go, that data is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So locking into the unlimited, I think, is also a good idea because they can't change that rate for the next 10 years. And all of a sudden, although some cloud storage gets cheaper, we are filling the data with all the body cams and all the in-car cams. Also, separate that for a minute. We also have Axon, which is the only company that really makes the taser that we carry as a secondary non-lethal weapon. So all of that integrates into the same system, which makes it extremely difficult to break away from companies, but that's the purpose, right? I mean, it's good for them, not as good for us, but we've been really successful with everything we've done with Axon. Another part of this that's wrapped into this payment in this agreement is evidence.com, which is where all of our evidence storage goes as far as data evidence and camera and video. And that is also part of what we're paying when we're talking about this whole program. So hopefully that helps a little bit more understanding of where this is going and why we would prefer a 10-year. I don't see why we would leave them because we're so invested in them. And if we can get it at $20,000 savings per year over redoing another contract that will cost us even more, that's why I wanted to present that to council.
So I had a quick question. In terms of, I know some of the language in here references like other contracts or like the other part of a contract. So are we agreeing to 2 things, their cameras, and then they do all the installation?
So
are there other things
no, there's
that we're agreeing to purchase from them?
There's 2 things. So there's the body cams and the in-car cams. So we're agreeing that we're going to stay with the body cams and we're going to continue to record those. They're going to continue to refresh them. They'll replace, cams as necessary under the warranty period. And the second part is the in-car cams, they're including all of the installation on that. So that would be part of the additional, and then the additional equipment would also include propertyroom.com.
Okay. The reason it occurred to me is I think one of the sentences in there was something like interview room cameras or something, if applicable. And I'm thinking when we build a new courthouse, are we agreeing to anything?
We have not added that in. I mean, that's certainly an option that we could look at, as we're looking through this, but I think the plan all along has been that, we currently use Able for all our video needs, but specifically to when we speak of that interview room, it may be something that, it's probably going to be something we're going to look at because to have that evidence and have that into the cloud where it's segregated and separate from everything else, I think is always a better idea. But it would only be specific for the interview rooms, not for anything else. But no, we didn't agree.
I was just
we didn't agree.
We're not locking in ourselves somewhere else. And, and I know that even just having the body-worn camera, my experience is half the time that's what's used in an interview room is someone goes in with a body-worn camera. Regarding the length of the contract, Rich, is that, I guess that's really the only thing I'm worried about, our hands tied.
Yeah, it's the length or the contract, we're getting pricing for 10 years, but we also are able to get out of that contract in any of one of the 10 years. So we're not locked in for 10 years, and the only way to get out is to breach the contract. So it's basically 10 different contracts bundled into one big contract that happens to be 10 years. So if the council decides that for whatever reason it does not want to budget for this particular contract, all we need to do is give notice to Axum and we can get out of the contract. And if that meant that we wanted to go with a different vendor, we would simply not appropriate the money for this particular contract year, and then we would be able to get out of the contract. And then as the chief indicated, we'd have to give the equipment back.
Okay.
So I guess, my only other comment then on this is the one other thing is that, I don't know if anytime you watch the news, I always try to look at the, logo on the body cam. I think it's Axon every time. I think they basically have a monopoly, and there isn't huge competition. So I'm assuming that's, part of the pricing, if there's more competition, could go down too. But so that's a separate item, but yeah, if our city attorney is comfortable with it, I guess the only adjustment I'd propose is that maybe in like 3 years, we just look back at it again. We can do the 10-year pricing, but at least like someone throw it on the Outlook calendar, Ms. Doom, 3 years from now, maybe we like review it. So we're trying to keep like the spirit of the charter, on the 3
We'll
years.
put it on the calendar.
3 years from now? Yeah.
Yep, 3 years from now, review.
Done that before. So I guess, I'll make a motion unless anyone else, did you, Councilman Curley, looking at me? Do you have a question?
No, not yet. Make your motion first, and then I'll speak.
All right, I'd motion that we approve the 10-year Axon body camera and in-car camera agreements and direct the city manager to sign the contracts on behalf of the city and plan 3 years from now to just do a review of this contract and see if the city council at that time would like to continue.
Okay, just to point this out on our,
Is there support?
on our memo, it says that we would save $29,000 per year. So that would be quite, I would support the motion. I just wanted to point out that it was actually 29,000.
All right, any other questions from council? Please call the roll.
On the amendment, correct.
I'm sorry?
On the amendment, or the,
Oh,
we had a main,
I think it was just one full motion.
Okay.
The 3
It wasn't
years.
an amendment.
I'm sorry.
It was just the original motion recommended with the inclusion of the 3-year review.
Okay, we have different parties. So the original motion is Councilmember Curley,
Yes?
Councilmember Shadlick.
Oh,
No,
I
we
don't-
never made the only motion was that last one. We didn't make another motion.
so I think Cardy, supported by Council.
Cardi made the motion, I supported it.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item B, approval of resolution 25-2007, accept the terms of the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant agreement with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Sure, Mr. Mayor, I'll motion we approve resolution number 25-2007 to accept the terms of the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant agreement with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources and further authorize the city manager to execute all necessary documents.
Support.
All right, any questions on that? Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld.
Yes. Moving on to item C, second reading and adoption of ordinance number 25-1250, updates to fee schedule.
Mr. Mayor, I had one question for you. When I was looking at it right before the meeting, I think we talked about the My Dog Park fees, or at least the description, description and the fees. Did we need to change, because it says like Eastpointe resident. I think we need to change that to Eastpointe or Roseville resident, we were saying. And then anybody else would be that other fee, right, is what we said last meeting?
I'm sorry, repeat that very last part.
Just that, yeah, I know. You can't hear two people at once. It says Eastpointe resident only, but it should say like Eastpointe or Roseville resident for like the resident fee, and then anybody else would be the $10 more. As long as those are the two correct numbers. What were they? Kind of at the bottom. Yeah, it's a 35 and 45. Are those are correct? Okay. So then we just need to change just the description, Eastpointe or Roseville resident. Yep. 35, anyone else is 45. We don't have any limit either, because I see it says Warren. It can be anybody, right? We don't limit on like cities, right? Okay.
Randy, was 35 and 45 what we had listed last time? Did that change at all?
That was the verbal update, was adding Roseville and then bumping it to 35, 45. It currently is 25, 35, but it's not covering the cost.
Oh, okay. That was my question. Last time, I think I had expressed I wanted to keep it at 25, 35 because we had the gate broken for a significant amount of this year.
Okay.
That was my opinion. I'd like to not raise it this year, maybe raise it next year, just because there's been issues with that gate.
Okay.
So I guess, can I make a motion to that effect, or does anyone want to jump in first?
I just had a quick question for the finance director. He said that that would not cover the cost, though, if we kept it at the 25, 35, correct?
It does not. However, Mayor Kleinfeld is correct. The fob system hasn't been working. Rare had been talking about extending the renewals by 3 months. So they had got an extra 3 months out of the fob system. So, yeah, however you compensate the people for the system not working. We're already losing money, so it's just another year.
I mean, that was one of my other sort of, I guess, philosophies looking at the park. I know that even bumping it won't cover the cost of it, but I think that's normal with certain kinds of facilities. I know when we used to have like Kennedy Pool, I think passes were 25 a summer or something like that. Certainly wouldn't come close to covering the cost of that amenity. So that was my position. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
cut
it's
you
okay.
off.
I was just curious, like I said.
All right. So I guess I will make a motion to approve, which resolution is this? Thank you. Motion to give second reading and adopt ordinance number 25-1250, updates to the fee schedule with the corrections noted regarding the My Dog Park fees.
I'll support that.
Please call the roll.
Sorry. Mayor Kleinfeld.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick.
Yes.
All right, moving on to item D, approval of budget amendment BA 26-01. Mr. Blum, would you like to give a brief overview?
Yes, this is the standard budget amendment for after a fiscal year end. The majority of this is projects that either did not complete by June 30th and its remaining balance, or projects that council approved last fiscal year, but were not part of last fiscal year's budget because they weren't going to start. That is the bulk of the non-general fund activity. Within general fund, there is some personnel shuffling around. I would like to point out that this was started a couple weeks ago, long before any memo came out.
Council?
Well, this one is a very tough one for me. I had conversations in regards to this, and based off of what I was told specifically, I can't support it. I was told specifically that the deputy personnel director's position was changing. I was told that because she falls into 3 protective classes, that it was being done as a budget amendment. And so because of that, and I'm careful to not accuse anybody of anything, but I know how it sounds to me. And so therefore, based off of what I was told directly, I can't be in support of it. The appearance of it does sound discriminatory, but I'm not accusing anybody of that, but I'm just saying how it sounds. But I was told directly that that position would be impacted by that. And so because of it and the delicate nature of what I was told directly, I'm 100% against it. I can't support it. Just based off what I was told specifically.
Any other council members?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. Going back, so an HR position just in general at the city is somewhat new. Didn't exist 10 years ago. We didn't have any sort of separate HR position. It was kind of just rolled up into the city manager. They'd be responsible for any standard human resources tasks that, like a corporation or anything would do. And then, I don't know what year it was, we discussed added a position into, or I shouldn't say, we initially discussed just should we even go with like a firm, kind of like something we do with like planning where we've hired McKenna. Do we pay a firm a certain amount of money? Do we hire a person? We kind of had that discussion, and we ended up hiring a position, and we talked about a certain amount of money. Earlier, let's see, actually, I'm not sure what the date is actually, but somewhat recently then, when we did that wage study proposal, I think it was just earlier this year, in front of us was all the positions. I know at the time at least I made the comment that there were a lot of increases in salary, and the city council doesn't know the day-to-day of all of the employees of the city, and that's why we hire a city manager to manage that sort of thing. We approved these new positions and the names, grades, and we were trying to do that part, which is supposed to be, our thing. We know what kinds of positions the city needs, or at least that's what we're responsible for. City manager is more responsible for filling the positions, hiring people, paying them, what they deserve to be paid. There's one thing that I am sort of confused now. Just noticed this just before the meeting too, though, is we approved an HR manager, and now we're talking about a title called Personnel Deputy Director. I'm a little confused by that, but I think this is like what we had approved before, and what's in this budget amendment is what we've discussed previously in budget sessions, and I think is consistent with what what I've believed I've voted on in the past. So I'd be in favor of this budget amendment because I essentially thought that's what we were doing anyway. I feel like we, I don't know what happened when we did this wage study proposal, earlier this year.
Yeah, I look back at I actually went back and looked at the minutes and everything for that wage study. That was back in February 18th of this year. And then it got approved by council. Then it went to civil service. I believe that was in April of this year. And the appropriate increases to the respective positions was approved by civil service. It went to civil service in April, and then it was approved. I don't recall ever using a budget amendment to eliminate a position, and that gives me concern. It gives me concern with what I was told directly about what this budget amendment would do. I know there's some other things written down in here too, but I can't support it based off of what I was told directly. I read through what the company that did the wage study, I read through what their recommendations was, what their suggested grade level changes were, and so forth and so on, the pay increases and everything. Everything got approved. And then when I see this, I see just the one position that appears to be going away. Again, based off of what I was told, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm telling you just how it sounds to me. And because of how it sounds and what I was told directly, I can't support it. And that's pretty much all I really need to say about it.
Okay, if council doesn't mind, I guess I'd like to chime in. I also went back and looked at the February 18th meeting. I know that there were a lot of comments made at the public hearing today about personnel issues. I don't think it's necessarily our role to get involved in very specific personnel issues and personnel complaints. I look at this and it's really a budget decision for the city of Eastpointe. I think, going back to the February thing, I'd like to start with the wage study. When that was proposed to us, there was some discussion and concern about what that actually meant and what the adoption of the wage study was. I did note that after the discussion that we had, I believe the motion to approve it was Councilman DeMonico, but it wasn't the motion made wasn't the recommended motion in the packet, which was to approve the wage study, but then also direct the city manager to adjust the salaries. That part was removed from the motion. I don't think it was realistically expected that there was going to be any large wage increases after that. This is the HR position is a relatively new one. Years ago, it was just responsibilities that were vested in the city manager and the assistant city manager. I think, if I recall correctly, some of the thinking around creating the position was if there were issues with those two people directly, that there would be sort of a safe place for someone to lodge those complaints. I think that logic made sense for creating an HR position to make sure that complaints against essentially who was assigned the HR director by charter, that there was a smooth way to deal with any complaints like that. Over the years, I mean, watching the way this position kind of evolved, I think it kind of ballooned out of control from what it was originally meant to be. I don't think a city our size should have a city manager, an assistant city manager, and an HR director that are all responsible for HR activities. I think, quite frankly, we're a smaller city. We're 5 square miles. We're mainly residential. We don't have a lot of commercial. Funding everything that we do falls on the backs of the taxpayers. And I think I've seen over the years positions get created at City Hall. We can always use more help in any department, but it's easy to watch positions expand here at City Hall in administration. And I think there needs to be more focus on increasing personnel when it comes to the staffing in DPW, police, or fire. I think we are just not a city of the size that merits the increase that we saw happen with this position. So understanding that there's been some comments raised tonight and there might be some complaints, I am sticking to looking at the budgetary impact and whether or not our city merits the position at the level that it currently exists. I am in support of the budget amendment as presented, so I will make a motion to approve budget amendment BA 26-01 as presented.
Mayor, just one thing that and I apologize if
is there a second?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean, if there's
I'll second.
seconded by Councilman DeMonico, I guess. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, the thing that really sticks with me is just the fact that the part of the conversation that references that she belongs to 3 protective classes, and that's the part that really stings and that really sits uncomfortably with me. In my opinion, that should not have been a part of the conversation. That should not have been a motivation behind the budget amendment or how this was done versus some other avenues. So I'm just expressing again and reiterating that is very concerning to me. And I mean, I know that motion of support is made, but I don't think that's right. And that sits very uncomfortable with me. Thank you though.
And Mr. Mayor, one other comment I wanted to make that was brought up during hearing the public, in the bullet points here, the increase in the city manager expenses is completely unrelated to interim city manager Doom. We have a contract with her. She'll be paid according to that contract. That's looking forward to when we're doing this search now, and we're looking to increase the wage of the city manager position to attract, hopefully attract more good candidates for city manager. And that is why that is in there, I believe, when I read this, right? Yeah.
And just to briefly respond to Councilman Baker's comments, I certainly don't mean to condone any type of activity that could have or would have been improper. I'm not getting into the personnel issues. I think that might be something that has to be reviewed. But for me, just based on the city's budgetary needs, I felt this way about this position back in February, so that's what I'm going off of.
Yeah, and it's not about me trying to get into personnel issues. That's what I was told directly, and I should not have been told that. That's where my concern comes in. It's not about getting into the personnel issues and the things that were voiced at the podium. That's not what impacts my decision or my feelings about it. It's what I was told directly.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, please call the roll.
Mayor Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
No.
Thank you. All right, payroll and bills. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move to pay the bills in the amount of $3,767,579.40.
Support.
All right, any questions on the payment of the bills? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the second hearing of the public. The second hearing of the public is now open. Would anyone wish to be heard? Is your mic on? Bottom?
Green.
There you go. Go ahead.
I'd like to start off by saying I agree with Councilman Curley. 100% for even asking the question regarding the 9-mile road project situation with the three-lane thing. That was has been a big discussion and been voted down not once, twice, but I think it's been 3 times. So I don't know how it could have been mixed up to think that anybody else wanted to approve it, because it's been denied overwhelmingly 3 times at least, and what have you. So I'm not real clear about how that's coming about to be in favor. The other thing is that we what was it? I hope that we're not just here playing politics rather than going into politics, but turning into politics and what have you, with these different policies and situations that's coming up and what have you. We also got an election coming up this November, and I hope the citizens will come and actively participate in that and look at the situation of what's going on with City Council and those that go against the people and that go against the majority of what the people want and what have you, so something can be done about it. So there's a lot of issues here that need to be addressed that is behind closed doors that people, the residents and citizens and what have you, that are not aware of, especially when it's not participating in different meetings and what have you. So there's a lot to consider and what have you if we're going to try and keep the city at least at a fair base. for all citizens to be able to have a fair choice in making their decision of where they live, rather than being dictated to and ignored by different situations. That the other thing that I would like to bring.
You have 30 seconds.
The other thing I would like to make known, when we come up here and we address different things and what have you, I think it's totally unfair that when we address our situations, that's the end of it. It stops basically for the majority of the time right here. That we need to have somebody like, even if it's Ms. Holman or somebody, to be able to take notes and see where discussion went further and to readdress us in regard to what's been brought up,
Thank you very much.
rather than just sit on it and nobody knows nothing.
Anyone else wish to be heard?
I would like to say that this body serves as the employer for the city manager. As an employer, there's an obligation to ensure a fair and impartial investigation is conducted when serious reports of discrimination, harassment, or retaliation have been reported in the workplace. And that's what I have attempted to do. The mayor and Mayor Pro Tem had ample notice to take action and request a special meeting for personnel reasons following my report of discrimination, harassment, and retaliation by the interim city manager to ensure an investigation was initiated, but have failed to do so. I hope the remaining members of this body take their obligation seriously and ensure that an investigation is initiated to identify and eliminate the harassment, discrimination, and retaliatory actions to protect the rights of all Eastpointe personnel from continued misconduct of the interim city manager, Elkie Doom.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
My name is Walt Martin, Eastpointe resident, also on a couple city boards. I just want to make one comment based on Councilmember Baker's comments. I just want to say that based on that, on this budget amendment, I would just say it's highly suspect. I'm based it on some things I've seen in the last 2 months. All I say is that what happened tonight is not right. But you guys made the decision, and it's a done deal. But I just want to say I commend Councilman Baker for speaking up and speaking his mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
John Solera, Eastpointe. Council and Mayor, I live on the 24,000 block of Kelly. About 3 weeks ago, a tree limb came down and took a power line down. It's a tree very much like the one in front of my house. It's a very old tree, I'm sure. And I have asked DPW 2 times to come out and look at my tree and see if it either trimmed or cut down, and no response. I'm not happy about that. I have large logs up there with sharp ends that'll fall out in any windstorm. So, also in my neighborhood, behind my house, I have several houses that their yards are like jungles. It's like the south side of Detroit is what it's like. It's like an extension of Detroit. You might ask me why I didn't make any complaints. Well, I made two complaints on 2 houses since 2021. And well, I got a general cleanup out of it and that. But they're jungles back there, especially with the rains of the last 2 summers. I have trees that are blowing the fence out. So, I don't know. Then, about a month or 6 weeks ago, I'm sitting on the porch, and I come down Kelly 2 ambulances and 2 police cars. Quite a high rate of speed. Not endangering anybody, but a high rate of speed. I found out later that someone had been shot down the street. And I'm here to tell you that anybody that puts a roundabout at 9 and Kelly is foolish. I'm gonna brand you as foolish now, because that's the dumbest thing you can do. That I have emergency traffic all day and night down Kelly Road. I watched the new planning commission document come out the other day on television. It's a terrible document. Does not even once mention the police. How do you plan a city on the edge of Detroit? How do you plan a safe city with these silly road diets and talk about money waste?
You have 30 seconds.
At the bare minimum in this city, the police have to have an agreement with ICE, because you guys are nuts. You're not gonna bring in businesses with a road diet and slowing down the road and whatever. That ain't gonna happen. DEI, you need to get rid of it. It's discriminatory, and it looks like you got a discrimination suit on your hands here.
Thank you very much.
Mary Hall Rayford, Eastpointe resident. When I was up here before, I failed to acknowledge that also included in the First Amendment grievance procedure, it basically applies to having a grievance against elected officials. Now, to my knowledge, not one elected official was responsible for what happened at the last meeting with regard to what occurred with the police officer. I'm a proponent of justice and fairness for all. And so I cannot stand idly by and allow that kind of conjecture to stand without saying something about it. So yeah, when we have grievances against elected officials, we do have an out. It's called the First Amendment right. But I don't think the conduct that we saw the last meeting was justifiable against the council. And from what I understand, this was over an event that happened some time ago. So I don't know what else to say other than I'm standing with council on this one. Although some may not understand it, I do believe in fairness and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Jennifer Nicholas, Eastpointe resident. At our last meeting, Chief Haynes gave out commendations to some of our officers, and he referenced 7 incidents. 6 of them were where officers got there in time to save lives. There were 3 shooting victims, 2 cardiac arrest victims that officers performed CPR on, and a 7-day-old infant who was choking and non-responsive. Additionally, one of our officers responded to an Amber Alert and provided assistance to St. Clair Shores Police to apprehend a suspect. All of these incidents and the multitude of similar incidents depend on police, fire, and MedStar to respond quickly and get to a scene quickly. Councilman DeMonico had an interesting take on this. He stated that there are other considerations to public safety other than how quickly after an issue happens that an ambulance or fire truck can get to the situation. He said, if we can prevent accidents in the first place, I think we should try our hardest to do that. I'm curious, which of these 7 incidents that the Chief Haynes referred to could have been prevented by a road diet? I'm not understanding why you would minimize residents' concerns about getting help in an emergency situation. We have had multitudes of residents come and speak about the importance of having police, fire, and ambulance respond quickly, and that a road diet is counterproductive to those efforts. He also referenced that there were 2 fatalities on 9 Mile in just the last couple years. To clarify, there has been 1 pedestrian death and 1 bicyclist death in the past 5 years, 7 years. Both of them happened to happen last year, so they're fresh in our minds. 1 pedestrian death was when 9 Mile was actually down to 2 lanes. The driver was not at fault. He was not speeding, not intoxicated. The second fatality was a bicyclist. The traffic report doesn't have much information on it, but the driver committed a crime by leaving the scene of the accident. I don't think that the driver's behavior would have been any different on a 3-lane road than a 5-lane road. Drivers are, if you're gonna be reckless, you're gonna be reckless. I read an article that
You have 30 seconds.
Michigan State Police have stated that accidents and fatalities have increased from 2023 to 2024, and that bicycle accidents have increased about 20%. With all the Safe Street initiatives going on in the state, I'm not understanding why is that number going up. Ferndale actually had twice as many bike accidents as Eastpointe last year, and they doubled the amount of their accidents from 2023 to 2024, which is, an area where they practice safe streets.
Thank you very much.
Just something to think about.
Good evening, Mayor Kleinfeld, council members, residents. Gary Sasek, and I'm here tonight as Parks Commission Chairman to let you know that late today I received information that Mr. Truhan will be having his tennis tournament at the Military Museum Jerry Lininger Tennis Courts this September 27th from 1 to whenever they get done. And registration can be obtained through the United States Tennis Association, but this is a program, I believe this will be his 3rd or 4th year putting it on, and I would encourage everybody to go past the Military Museum tennis courts that day and just see what an incredible program this gentleman runs for the citizens and that take part in it. And I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Mike McLeod. I'm a former employee of the city in the court. With these allegations being reported to you, I would expect you guys to take these allegations seriously and conduct an investigation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, the second hearing of the public is closed. Moving on to mayor and council reports, we'll start with Councilman DeMonico.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's see. So first, briefly on 9 Mile, there's a lot of nuance for sure to a large project like the change of 9 Mile. And my comments from last meeting were that we can reduce injuries on 9 Mile while also keeping our response times as they are. If you, everyone out there, Google, look up reports, response times do not go down because of a road diet. So we can reduce the amount of danger on 9 Mile by slowing traffic down and then also have the same response times that we do now. There's plenty of other reasons too. I mean, I think the bigger reasons are for economic development on 9 Mile, beautification, plenty of other things. The flow of traffic, I think, will be a lot better with a roundabout at 9 and Kelly that was brought up today too. Right now there's usually just like a couple cars, the last few times I've been there, a couple cars just sitting at the light, just waiting and waiting and waiting, where if you have a road diet or a roundabout, you can essentially go right away after yielding, and there will be less queuing of cars. But yeah, so I think, there's, a lot of good things we can do on 9 Mile with all these different changes. Ms. Moragian, I thought would maybe be sticking around, but mentioned at last meeting where she, her and I did the dunk tank at the Rockin' Summer Nights with Rare, and we agreed we'd split the proceeds after paying for the splash pad. It's not a whole lot, and now, oh man, now Corey is left. I have $50 for animal control. I know it's not a lot, but we split it. 50 is gonna go for the Memorial Day Parade and 50 for animal control, so I've got a check here for the city. Here, pass this to Ms. Doom, or maybe all the way down to Mr. Blum. So please, whatever our animal control officer needs for $50 right now, please, let's make that happen. Let's see. Oh, the last concert that was here at the City Hall, the DDA Summer Concert Series, that was awesome. The Detroit RSVP All-Stars, which I think we kind of buried the lead, or, we should have announced one of the members is from the Four Tops. He's like a current member of the Four Tops. They announced that during the concert. Who Director Haynes, you missed. I've got a $50 check for animal control from the dunk tank. Not a lot, but whatever our animal control officer needs for $50.
Awesome, every little bit helps.
That was awesome. And then this Thursday, it is at City Hall again, right? Okay, that's what I have in my notes. Midwest Dueling Pianos. Come up here to City Hall. When are they starting? When do we usually start? 6 p.m.?
What, 6 p.m.?
6. Come up at 6 p.m. And check that out. Let's see then, if you are interested, we're done, of course, with the Memorial Day Parade, but now we do a Veterans Day event also, that same committee. If you're free at 6 p.m., come up to the Military Museum on Monday. We're going to start planning the Veterans Day event that we've done the last few years. So please help out with that. We always need some new ideas, a few extra hands. So come out to that. And then also the Beautification Commission is planning a dedication for Margaret Smith. She was a longtime volunteer for the community, passed away, and they're going to do something at the entrance to Spindler Park there. So if you're free on the 21st, I don't have the, Ms. Homan, do you know what time that was starting?
Sir, I believe it was in the afternoon. Let me see if I can find it.
All right. Well, reach out to me at least now if you're interested. If we don't find out in the next minutes, then put that in my notes here. That will be very nice. Beautification Commission's been working on that for a while, and hope everyone's got a great upcoming school year. Hope everyone had a great Labor Day. And of course, remember, Tuesday, November 4th, we've got a city election, 2 city council seats, and also we'll have a charter change on the ballot relating to the city manager position. So please check that out and make sure you vote.
Great, thank you. Councilwoman Pashadlik.
I just have 2 quick ones. I'd like to mention that the Community Garden Urban Seed is hosting Art in the Park on Friday, September 12th at 6 p.m. In the event of rain, they're going to host it on that Saturday, the 13th, if there's rain. So we'd like to call out all artists and, just people to come and participate in the Art in the Park. It's a very nice area, and I think you'd like to just go around and see the garden spaces and the beautiful artwork. It's a very nice event. So I'd encourage everyone to attend. And then I'd also like to wish my niece Amber a happy 50th birthday today. And that's all.
Thank you. Councilman Curley.
Thank you. Unless this group that's going to make a decision about 9 Mile Road, unless they send it back to us and says, make up your own mind, there'll be no more votes from this body on what to do with 9 Mile Road, because as the city manager said, they make the decision. The council meeting that we decided, one of the 3 decided, why don't we have AEW make out the plans for the 3 lanes? I think you got 4 votes. I even voted for it because he said, well, all right, if they want to make out plans, that's fine. by no means was that a vote to do the three lanes. It was just to have AEW make out a plan, okay? Let's make sure we all understand that. So this group wants more information about the three lanes. I wonder what the administration is going to send to them. It's going to be all nicey stuff. I don't know. Maybe we should take a look at that before they send it to this group. I'm disappointed. I feel like I'm out in the pasture all by myself, and it's raining, and I don't have an umbrella. So, but I'm still going to fight it. But if we don't vote anymore, I guess there's no choice, and neither does the other group have a choice if this group decides what to do. We'll see. I know it's going to be some time because of information that the administration is going to send to them. I'm sure they haven't started adding it up, but Madam City Manager, I'd like to see what you're going to send to them and see how favorable it is to a three-lane road. I wasn't going to say any of that, but I was just going to change the subject. Smile now. I was going to ask the audience and the city council what happened on September 20th, or September 2nd. I can't tell you the year because you'd guess it then. We had somebody guess it. September 2nd, what happened?
My niece was born.
What? You can't say it twice. September 2nd, 1945, the enemy surrendered on the Missouri ship on September 2nd, 1945. And also on September 2nd, 1945, President Truman declared VJ Day. We all know what VJ Day is? Don't smile, guys, I'm sorry. Jeez. I might need protection going out to the car. He invented a victory over Japan. So that's what I was going to start to say, but I just have to go home and forget about what happened tonight and see what's going to happen in the near future.
All right, well, I'll move right into my comments at this point. I'm just going to say thank you to the individuals that came out. Although it looks like a chunk of our audience left, which is unfortunate. Just a quick, I guess, response. During the budget amendment conversation, I really didn't want to get into sort of the weeds on what I think is a separate topic. But I have asked about that. I understand that administration, along with talking to council, has identified an outside agency or person who's going to come in and investigate the allegations that were made. So I wish there were still some people here to hear that that's already underway. Other than that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley?
Meeting adjourned at 8:37.